Hey there, and welcome to Faith Talks. I want to talk about something that might be a little touchy subject for you. I want to talk to you about your money. Where are you spending your money? Where's your money going? I have so many people reach out to me asking me to believe God with them for their finances, and oftentimes I wonder what they're spending their money on. You know, you can see people buying new cars or going on exotic vacations, and yet they're believing God for extra money. And I often think, are you using wisdom? I remember someone in particular, no names mentioned, but they came to me one time and asked me to believe, pray with them and believe for extra finances, and that their boss would give them a raise on their job. And so I prayed with them and helped them look at their budget and that kind of thing. Well, I kid you not, the very next week they pulled up on a Harley. They had bought a brand new Harley. And I just thought, God don't bless stupidity. Now, we serve a God that forgives us, redeems us, restores us, has so much mercy for us when we make dumb decisions. We've all done it. We've all made dumb decisions with our money. And I'm not saying that you can't splurge on yourself, but many people don't even have a budget. They have no idea how much money is going out every single month. They live paycheck to paycheck. So I want to encourage you to start to look at your money and get serious. If you're in a place where you want to get out of debt and you want to start being able to put money aside, then I really want you to listen to what I'm saying today, and maybe there'll be something in it that will help you and get your finances in order so that God can bless you. You can say, Lord, I need to get out of debt. Well, how much money do you need to get out of debt? And if you don't know that, then you can't answer it, and God can't give it to you. You got to know what you need. So there's a scripture or a story in John 6 that the disciples share, and Jesus is wanting to feed the multitude. And they find a little boy with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes. You know this story. And so Jesus prayed over it. The food multiplied. He fed everybody. But Brother Jesse Duplantis told this story, and he gave this message probably 20 years ago. And it just impacted me so much. And he talked about that after Jesus fed the multitude, then he said to the disciples, this is from the Passion Translation, and it's John 6:12 and 13. He says, now go back and gather up the pieces left over so that nothing will be wasted. The disciples filled up 12 baskets of fragments. And Brother Jesse's message was about the fragments, looking for the waste. And at the time that I heard this message, my dad had made me CFO over his ministry. And that's what I began to implement at the ministry, was just looking for waste, looking for things that we were spending money on that we didn't really need to. And I started to cut out just a bunch of things that just were very wasteful. And then I began to implement that in my own life, my personal life, my budget at the time. And I started to see where I was spending things that were not necessary. I'll give you an example. I was a Slurpee addict. If you don't know what a Slurpee is, it's a drink. And I would have one every single day of my life. I'm not kidding. Even when I lived in Colorado and there was snow on the ground, it was cold out, I would venture down the mountain to get my icy. That's how serious I was about them. And so this was everyday habit for me. Then I have kids, and then they want one. So I started to do the math on that. And so if I'm spending $60 a month on a Slurpee, then that was $720 a year just on a drink. But then you add my kids to it, and it became $1,440 a year. So out of my salary, every year that I made, I was spending $1,440 on a drink. So I removed that from my life. It was a fragment. Think about the $1,440 that I could have put in savings. It's amazing when you think about that. People do it with cigarettes. Think how much people spend on cigarettes a month. Or Starbucks. Or people I know that are broke and in debt, and they go get their nails done. They go get their eyelashes done. They get their eyebrows done. They do all these things. Again, I'm not saying that you can't, treat yourself. You can't splurge on yourself. But when you're serious about getting out of debt, then you're going to start to look for those fragments in your life and remove them. And you think about how much money that you could put aside in savings. So start looking for those fragments in your money. Start looking for those places that you're spending money that you really don't have to. Most people have no clue how much they're spending every single month on extras. So I want you to look at that today. A few things I want you to do. If you're serious about getting out of debt, then I want you to do a spreadsheet. Just write it down, put down all your monthly expenses. Your house, your electric, your groceries, etc. Every single thing that you spend every single month. And then you see what's left over and what are you spending that extra on. The second thing I want you to do is include your tithe in there. A lot of people don't tithe. In fact, statistics says that out of 247 million U.S. citizens that claim to be Christians, only 1.5 million tithe out of 247 million. And then savings. Are you putting anything in savings? This statistic says that in 2022, 42% of Americans have less than $1,000 saved. That's amazing to me. So you think about the Starbucks, the nails. You can tell I don't get my nails done. Whatever those extras are, think about putting that aside in your savings account. There's so many things that I could teach on. I used to teach a class on just practical money management. Putting more on whatever debt it is that you have. Knock out the smallest bill of your debt, and then just keep going, and you could add whatever it is. If I was spending $700 a month on, or $700 a year on Slurpees, I could break that down and put it on a debt. So think of those ways. What are ways that you can knock out something that's a waste, that's a fragment, and then put that money, extra money, on a debt? But you always want to put something in your savings. Start somewhere. If you're not saving anything, start with $50. Start somewhere. And it's money you don't touch. It's something you have put away. And you want to always make sure that you're tithing. And there's a whole teachings on tithing, but it's important that you're giving back to God. That, you can, I tithe 10%, but I give more. But make sure that you're giving to God, that you're blessing other people. I give to other people too. So do an assessment of your finances. Write it down. See what's left over. And watch God bless you when you do that. Have a great one.